The two elders nodded in unison, their eyes gleaming with understanding. Friends for many years, their disagreements had been as fleeting as the wind, and neither sought to upset the delicate balance of their camaraderie. The matter was settled, and it was as if their argument had never occurred. "Here," Wu Songlin spoke, his voice as steady as a mountain, handing over an iron plaque to Ling Han. "With this, you may enter the alchemy department at will." "Old man Wu, this boy has just come to report to the academy." Liang Guangzu interrupted with a friendly tug on Ling Han's arm. "I will first take him to the martial arts department for his registration and accommodation," he added, his tone light but firm. With swift steps, Liang Guangzu led Ling Han away until they had travelled a considerable distance. Pausing, Liang Guangzu called for the teacher in charge of enrollment. "Why did you allow this boy to wander off to Old Man Wu's?" Liang Guangzu's voice carried a trace of reprimand. The teacher, looking abashed, could only lower his head, muttering, "How could I know that Ling Han would run off so quickly? I barely turned around and he was gone. Yet what could I do? The headmaster himself is his guardian." Though Liang Guangzu's words had a harsh edge, it was clear he did not intend to scold. The teacher, relieved, dared not speak further and accepted the rebuke in silence. "Good lad," Liang Guangzu mused to himself, eyes alight with pride. He defeated Qi Yongye at the mere 4th layer of the element gathering tier. A full 12 battle stars at his age, 8 more than expected. Not even that Kanye would be his match. He paused, lost in thought for a moment. Such a martial genius, why should he waste his time concocting pills? The thought struck him like a flash of lightning. You will assign him to a more secluded area. Choose a teacher with no disciples. Do not let Wu Songlin find him. Liang Guangzu's orders came swiftly, calculated and precise. His tone had an edge, showing the true depth of his cunning nature. The teacher's brow glistened with sweat. He nodded cautiously. After all, Wu Songlin was the head of the alchemy department, a figure of immense power, his rank barely second to the Emperor of Rain Country himself. If Wu Songlin's wrath was provoked, who could bear the consequences? Understanding this, Liang Guangzu's voice softened. "Once you handle this, take a half-year leave. Your salary will remain unaffected. Use this time to lie low." The teacher, now relieved of his dread, smiled broadly. He had escaped a difficult situation, and the added vacation seemed like a windfall. "Old Mo," the teacher whispered, his eyes suddenly glinting with inspiration. "Old Mo?" Ling Han, who was holding Hu Nu in one arm while clutching a small bundle in the other, asked, confusion flickering across his face. "Old Mo's real name is Mo Gao," the teacher explained, his voice laced with a hint of nostalgia. "He was once a genius in our martial arts department, but one day he declared his ambition to create the ultimate sword technique. Afterward, his cultivation stagnated. The headmaster, seeing his potential, still took him in as a teacher despite his failure." The teacher sighed, shaking his head in sympathy. "But do not worry about his cultivation level. The headmaster himself will personally guide you, so the rest will not concern you." The teacher led Ling Han through the academy's outer bounds, into a remote section of the grounds where the air smelled of age and neglect. The few courtyards here were run down, overtaken by wild grass and dirt. The path before them was barely visible beneath the unkempt weeds that reached knee-high. "Peng, peng, peng!" The teacher knocked on the door of one of the courtyards. After a long wait, a voice from within called out. "Who's there?" "Old Mo, it's me." The teacher replied, his tone familiar. The door creaked open to reveal a man, medium-sized yet dishevelled. His face was obscured by an unruly beard that gave him the appearance of an old man despite his youth. "What is it?" "If there's nothing urgent, I must go and continue my sword training," the man said, his words firm yet weary. This was Mo Gao. "I'm here to deliver a student to you," the teacher said, gesturing toward Ling Han. "His name is Ling Han." The teacher's duty done, he turned and left with haste. Afraid of attracting Wu Songlin's ire, Ling Han and Mo Gao stared at each other in silence for a while, neither speaking. The air seemed to thicken with the weight of unspoken words. Finally, Mo Gao broke the silence. "Since I'm a teacher here, I cannot refuse an assignment from the academy. In the future, you will follow me in my sword training." "All right," Ling Han responded indifferently. "The courtyards here are vacant," Mo Gao continued. Pick any that you find suitable, they are all yours to use. He turned back to his humble abode. I'll leave the door open. Come and go as you wish, but do not disturb me when I am practicing my sword techniques. Ling Han nodded and, with Hu Nu at his side, set off to find a suitable place to stay. The courtyards were in ruin, but with determination, Ling Han set about making one habitable. Hu Nu, eager to help, made the task even more difficult, flinging dust everywhere. Her little face became covered in grime, making her look like a playful little kitten. Ling Han laughed heartily at the sight. After hours of cleaning, they had managed to tidy one room. Ling Han decided not to seek out Lu Yutong immediately, trusting that she would care for Ling Zixuan in his absence. Suddenly, a voice broke the silence. Anyone here? It was a young boy, no older than his teens, pushing a cart loaded with food. Rice, meat, and vegetables sat on the cart. Meat! Meat! Hu Nu's eyes shone brightly as she pounced on the cart, causing the young boy to fall back in surprise. Ling Han smiled, walking over to help the boy up. How many days' worth of food is this? 10 days, the boy stammered, still bewildered. After 10 days, I'll return with more. Ling Han shook his head, amused. This will last only 1 day. The boy was stunned, staring at Ling Han with wide eyes, unable to comprehend the reason for his immense appetite. Just leave the food. Money is no issue, Ling Han said, smiling. The young boy, now understanding, unloaded the supplies and left. Ling Han, laughing, said, Don't rush, it's not even night yet. Hu Nu, once again, excited at the mention of food, started jumping around, her earlier displeasure forgotten. Ling Han decided that after they finished shopping for essentials, blankets, clothes and more, he and Hu Nu would enjoy a hearty meal. As they left the academy, a voice cried out from a nearby student. Come see, Zhu Wuju is challenging Nangongji! The challenge had already begun. Ling Han could not help feeling moved, following the advancing crowd with steady steps. More and more people gathered, murmuring amongst themselves, recounting the bitter struggle between Zhu Wuju and Nangongji. In a short span, Ling Han quickly gleaned the history of these two young men. Zhu Wuju and Nangongji were both ordinary disciples of Huyang Academy. However, Nangongji stood among the top 10 strongest of the ordinary disciples, a true martial artist in his prime, capable of challenging the true disciples for a place among their ranks. Zhu Wuju, though less capable, was still formidable, ranking in the top 20 of his tier. He was no slouch. Why does Zhu Wuju still persist in battling Nangongji? One voice asked. Ah! What can be done? Elder brother disciple Nangong sacrificed elder sister disciple Hanjuan to save his life on their last practical training expedition. It broke Zhu Wuju's heart, for Hanjuan was his lover, came the reply. But wasn't it Nangongji's sword that injured Hanjuan, causing her to fall behind and engage in that deadly battle with the silvery light beast? That's when she lost her life, while Nangongji escaped. Shh! Be careful, friend. Nangongji is not a person to speak ill of lightly. He is the 5th young master of the Nangong clan, and his 3rd elder brother, Nongxing, is a true disciple in the 3rd layer of Gushing Spring tier. But despite this, Zhu Wuju challenges him year after year, knowing full well the power of the Nangong clan. His bravery is impressive, but foolish. Last year, he nearly lost his life from the wounds Nangongji inflicted upon him. Yet here he is, challenging him again. Yes, Zhu Wuju has a low Earth grade spirit base, and with his impoverished background, there are no resources to aid his cultivation. The gap between him and Nangongji will only widen. Ling Han's mind stirred with curiosity. There was more to this tale than met the eye. The crowd soon arrived at the martial training court of the academy, where a man stood within and the others instinctively held back. Sparring was an honoured tradition at Huyang Academy. As long as both parties consented, they could engage in combat there. The rules were simple: be merciful when possible. Yet if a fighter continued to attack after their opponent had surrendered or lost the ability to defend, punishment would be severe. Ling Han observed the man in the court. He appeared to be about 25 or 26 years of age, tall, and bearing a long sword on his back. He was not handsome, but there was a ferocity in his gaze that kept others from looking him directly in the eye. "Where is Nangongji?" someone asked. "He's the one being challenged. Of course, he must maintain a bit of dignity." "I believe this is Zhu Wuju's 5th challenge, isn't it?" Yes, it's been 4 years since the first. The persistence of this man is truly something. Every year after being near death, he continues to rise again. It's hard not to admire his willpower. Ling Han grinned faintly as he overheard. A person with a special constitution, huh? He's surrounded by a faint silvery aura. He must be from the Silver Moon race. The Silver Moon constitution grants incredible healing abilities. How fascinating. The Silver Moon race was a dying breed, known for their regenerative powers. They were almost extinct, hunted down by others seeking to use their bodies for alchemical concoctions. Ling Han had once visited their lands 10,000 years ago, but he had been powerless to help when the Silver Moon race was wiped out. Seeing a member of that race today stirred old regrets in him. For the sake of the Silver Moon King, I'll give him a hand, Ling Han thought, setting his resolve. Suddenly, a figure entered the training court. Nangongji appeared, exuding an overpowering aura. His cultivation reached the 9th layer of element-gathering tier, peak of its stage. He stood confidently before his opponent. Nangongji, how many times must you boast before you realize you can never defeat me? Nangongji sneered as he prepared himself for the duel. With a flick of his sword, Juwuju stepped forward, his body swaying with intent. His blade flashed through the air with icy precision. The duel began. The clash of steel rang out. Ding, 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 ding! The battle was fierce, and though Nangongji seemed at ease, there was a subtle wariness in his eyes. He had fought Juwuju 4 times before, each time nearly killing him. Yet Juwuju had always managed to survive, miraculously recovering from injuries that would have slain anyone else. That thought lingered with Nangongji. He could never forget the debt he owed to Juwuju. Hanjuan's death was on his conscience. Juwuju, the only living connection to her, had to be dealt with once and for all. Nangongji decided that this battle would be his last chance. He would kill Juwuju today. The battle waged on, and finally Nangongji saw an opening. He drew his sword, unleashing the terrifying shadow dance sword arts, a high-level earth-grade technique. The sword flickered with deadly intent, aiming directly for Juwuju's heart. But Juwuju was ready. His sword swung in retaliation, and 2 flashes of cold light exploded in the air. The crowd gasped, recognizing it immediately. Sword Chi! The hallmark of a true sword master. The sword strikes collided, blood spurted, and the 2 fighters were locked in a deadly embrace. Juwuju's sword grazed Nangongji's throat, while Nangongji's sword found its mark in Juwuju's stomach. Both men staggered back, but neither was finished. Ling Han stepped forward, his sword raised with deadly intent, watching the clash unfold before him, ready to intervene if necessary.